Welcome back to the series I like to call I just keep making the same thumbnail over and over and it just keeps working. I'm working on a video game called The Wicker Devil, based on a really crappy game I made in 24 hours like 2 years ago.
Hi, how are you?
Here's a little snippet of gameplay.
Do you have an egg I could borrow? I'm trying to make macaroons, but I ran out of eggs. Have you ever tried to make macaroons? It's so freaking hard.
Now, obviously it's incomplete, so I'm still trying to figure out what to change. I'm thinking of removing the whole macaroon bit, but it's a really good setup for when the gameplay shifts to the cozy baking simulator, so I'm not really sure. I'm, back and forth. But I do know the main thing you're thinking about. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars? But please, forget about that for just a minute and pay attention to me, because I have to tell you everything I've been working on with The Wicker Devil. Also subscribe! And wish this Wicker Devil on Steam! I'm a witch! Hey, that's pretty cool. Did you guys like that title screen? I made it myself. Plus, I watched it like probably 200 times. Tyler and I went through about 20 redesigns of the title before landing on this one, which I think does the best job at representing the game. Animating it took like 15 man-hours, but I did it in Blender, which is kind of cool because I don't usually use Blender for 2D stuff. But I don't have After Effects or anything because I'm Adobe's biggest hater.
This group and just their chances to go out there and compete this season.
Well, I mean, the expectation.
Also, I recorded a lot of those sound effects myself by snapping some celery and crushing some romaine lettuce, but other than that, what have I been working on? The answer is animating. Jesus, so much animating, and trust me, I like animating. Oh yeah, wait, Elijah has a whole body now. In the previous video, Elijah was just a pair of arms, but I decided to retcon that decision and give him a full body for a multitude of reasons, but the main one is it just looks better. But of course, it came with a lot of extra work, like modeling the character, which I did so long ago, I probably don't even have footage of it, as well as texturing. I am super proud of my texture work on Elijah. I think it's some of the finest I've ever done. Like, look at that shirt. Speaking of textures, I have also recently modeled and textured this flashlight, since in a previous video I was using a free asset. It didn't really have quite the look I wanted. I mean, it looks fine, of course, but I had something more specific in mind. Plus, I wanted as many in-house assets as possible for the end product. Plus, my sister and some friends were kind enough to design and draw some of these stickers for me. All of these stickers for me. I didn't draw any of them. I've also retextured the shotgun to make it look more in style of the game, as well as retopologizing it and getting rid of like 80% of the polygons. The original version of the shotgun was a free asset, and a great one at that, but it was definitely designed for high fidelity renders rather than game performance. So I manually decimated it to get it from about 50,000 faces to about 7,000. And I don't want to see a single comment that this could have been a normal map. I know that! I'm just lazy. There's a multitude more of certain equipment that you'll use throughout the game, and I've been experimenting with the idea of the inventory being completely diegetic in the sense of you pulling out your backpack physically and grabbing items from there. It's just a concept slash blockout for now, but I really hope I can get it working fluidly because I just think that would be super cool. So you know how my videos take about 25 business years to make? Well, at the time of editing, I actually do think this inventory system is gonna work. I've improved it to actually hold items, and it feels intuitive enough to use. Once I make it an actual backpack mesh and polish up the animations, I think it's gonna feel a lot better. Every time I say the word animations in this episode, I feel like I'm getting more flashbacks. Elijah having a body means so much animating. Not just walking, but walking in 8 different directions. Of course, that also means running in 8 different directions. And it's a horror game, which means our character can crouch, so I need 8 animations for those. Although in-game, you can really only see his feet, so I feel like I probably could have just cheesed those animations somehow and saved a lot of time. I could have just like reused the walking ones, I don't know. Proning is also a part of this game. I've updated the animation from the last one to be root motion, so now you actually move in accordance to when the hands pull you forward. I'm still gonna need at least like 3 more of those for moving side to side and moving backwards. Those are the main animations that handle the body, but the arms are a different story. I need animations for each type of equipment, some of which I'm going to keep quiet, but you already know about the shotgun, which requires animations for shooting, reloading, cycling, etc. I also need what I call lead animations, which can be additively applied to all the other equipment animations, things like deploying the equipment and holstering it, or adding rocking movement while walking and running, stuff like that. I genuinely think I've probably made over 100 animations so far, and I have no idea how many I have left to go, because this is just Elijah's stuff, and I need to do the Wicker Devil as well. And me, being the big, brilliant genius that I am, I decided I want a cool movement system in the game as well, akin to games like Outlast.
Say that again?
Me being the big, brilliant genius that I am? This video is sponsored by Brilliant. Brilliant is filled with lessons that aren't just stupid old lectures, they're full of hands-on problem solving that let you play with concepts. This is a method proven to be 6 times more effective than watching lecture videos. If you can become a successful game developer just from watching YouTube tutorials, then you could become 6 successful game developers by using Brilliant. And then you'd have clones that you could force to do your chores until they insist they're the original and completely change the hierarchy of power. But they only did that so they could sign into your Brilliant account, since it helps you build understanding from the ground up, with a perfect mix of engaging problems, competitive features, and daily encouragement that keeps you motivated and on track. Better yet, all the content on Brilliant is crafted by award-winning teachers, researchers, and professionals from universities that laughed at my applications like Stanford, MIT, Caltech, and more. Brilliant's collection of programming courses is a great way to build problem-solving skills to exceed the ever-evolving world of programming. Develop an intuition for computer logic, learn Python, and get hands-on experience with real programs to learn to think like a programmer. To learn on Brilliant for free, that's right, free, go to brilliant.org/shawcat, that's me, or click on the link in the description. Brilliant's also given our viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited access to everything on Brilliant. Thank you, Brilliant. I appreciate y'all. So where was I? Oh yeah. Me being the big, brilliant genius. A vaulting system had a lot more to it than I had anticipated. Vaulting is a fun way to spice up the exploration, being chased. Yeah, that's it. I didn't quite realize the volume of variety there is when it comes to clambering up obstacles. First off, there's 2 main types of vaulting: climbing over an object to reach the other side, and climbing onto an object to reach the top. I'm calling these hurdling and mantling, respectively. This is based on the free GAS project that Unreal provides, in which I learned a lot by studying their code, and it made the coding process for me a whole lot easier with that as a reference. Good artists always use reference, as they say. So let's quickly go over what it takes to vault a character. The capsule here is our character, and the box is our obstacle. Our goal is to hit spacebar and through an animation end up on the other side of the box. So we hit spacebar, and the first thing the code does is calculate the size of the obstacle to determine if it's a hurdle or a mantle, as well as figuring out the height to choose an appropriate animation to play. It also detects if the box is wide enough to accommodate the radius of our player. If it's too thin, we won't be able to go over it. Then, since our animation is set and won't be modified at runtime, we need to move our player to the correct position so we're not vaulting like this. So we find the closest point on the vault object to the player, and once again check the radius of the capsule to make sure this point is vaultable. If it's not, we can just shift it over until it is, since we already confirmed the obstacle itself is wider than the player. That's the proper code for starting the vault, but what about ending it? Different hurdle vaults can have different lengths. After this, we get the end point of the vault directly across from the starting point, and we draw a capsule trace from the start to the end to make sure there's no obstacles blocking our path, otherwise the vault wouldn't be feasible. If that succeeds, I do another trace that's 1 capsule radius ahead of the end point to the ground to find where the ground is. Now I could finish here, but what I realized after doing this is it really feels like you're killing all your momentum if you hit this vault while sprinting. You're running, and then it just kind of feels like it's slow slows you down completely to a stop. So to fix the flow, I added yet another capsule trace forward, starting from the landing point by the amount that you would move when you enter the vault at a certain speed. If this trace doesn't hit anything, that becomes our new vaulting land spot, and if it does hit, then we just land one radius amount before the obstacle so you don't go clipping through any walls. Lastly, after all this calculation, we play the correct animation. So here's all of it in action. We warp to the starting point, start the animation, and at a point inside the animation of my choosing, move the character to the calculated end location. This technique is called motion warping, and Unreal has a built-in plugin for this, but I was occasionally feeling like I was fighting against the plugin to make it work, so I actually ended up building my own version instead, which worked better for this specific project. Now, that's all the work I anticipated, but what I didn't anticipate was all the animations needed for all the different outcomes of those calculations. This low hurdle looks great, but it looks really funky on higher obstacles. So I needed a version for medium and high obstacles. So this one's the medium, which I think looks nice, and I'm really proud of the high one because I love the little stumble he does at the end. Then there's also mantling as well. The code on mantling works nearly exactly the same as the hurdling, it just does calculations for the top of the obstacle instead of the other side. Of course, then I ran into the same issue of different heights look kind of funky, so I needed one for the low mantling, I needed one for the medium mantling, and I needed one for high up mantling. Then I realized I needed versions to end up in a crouched position, as I wasn't really able to use any fancy interpolation to just fake the transition without it looking absolutely terrible, so I needed 3 more versions for those. Then I needed versions where there is no land location, and you might just free fall after vaulting. That one broke the code a bit because if there was no land location detected, you would just warp to the origin of the entire scene. Once I got these animation-based movement states figured out, I added a couple more just for fun that I wasn't really planning on, like sliding, for example. Everybody loves sliding. I also added a long jump, which would totally break the ribs of a normal person, but Elijah is just tough like that. I don't really have a solid use case for either of these, so they could be removed, but they're definitely fun, so we'll see.
Yeah, Future Shawkat here. Did you see that freaking chase scene in the beginning? No way in hell am I removing those.
But after this debacle, I felt much more confident with root motion animations and motion warping, so I added ones for opening and closing doors, which once again I didn't realize would need literally 7 variations because doors only open one way, so that's opening from one side, opening from the other side, closing from one side, closing from the other side, trying to open it from one side when it's locked, trying to open from the other side when it's locked, and I needed one little extra one for closing the door when you're on this side of the door, because if I played the regular closing animation I had, you would clip through the door. I plan to add a couple animations for stuff like opening the windows as well, and maybe a couple others here and there if I find appropriate usage for them. Also, there are humanoid characters in this game.
Hello, I am a human.
Although I won't give much more detail than that. If you want to know more, you're just gonna have to play it when it comes out. I showed a bit of the previous video, the one that looks like the actual game and not all these grid cubes, which I'll explain very soon. Anyway, I had to get these animations working on the NPCs as well for basic navigation. So I made this really simple NPC that I just made follow me for testing, and I was able to use the same techniques using some placeholder animations to get them to vault over obstacles and open doors. I can't literally use the same animations because Elijah has a more special rig that has detachable arms and stuff for the reasons of using equipment independently of the legs. You see this in video games all the time, and it's much easier to layer animations this way instead of needing stuff like holding the shotgun while you're idling, holding the shotgun while you're walking, holding the shotgun while you're running, remoting the shotgun while you're idling, remoting the shotgun while you're walking. You get the idea. It really adds up. So the animations for the shotgun are kept completely separated from the legs so that they don't influence each other in any way. The nice part about this is it actually saves me time because I don't have to worry about the first person animation looking good in third person. You remember this bash animation where I go through the door really fast? This is what it looks like in third person.
Oh, bro.
So with all this work, why does the game look worse? Why do the animations look clunkier? The truth is, if I have a multiple episode project, I usually pretty it up for the video so that you're not just looking at boring grids the whole time. When in actuality, this is actually what I work in for like 90% of the game. The art pass is kind of the final step, but when I'm making a video, I don't want it to just look boring the entire time, so I usually inject a little bit of art early so people can get a better idea of what the game's going to look like in the end product. It's much easier to program vaulting and navigation and level design when the map is simple and easily malleable versus something that looks like it's ready to ship. Obviously, if you've seen any of my videos at all before, you also know the map is taking a good long time due to the very famous proverb, Shawkat hates environmental design and also he's bad at it. A lot of these animations I made very quickly to prototype with my code, and once everything works the way it's supposed to mechanic-wise, I can confidently put the time into making the art look good. Because things change all the time, and it really sucks when I've put 5 hours into a single animation that is no longer going to be used. The good news is all of this art from the previous episode still exists, and most, if not all of it, will still be used in the final product. So the game hasn't regressed in any way. I just didn't pretty it up for this video due to all the delays to get this video out. I didn't want to add one more thing to my plate. And if you're wondering why it's been 11 months since an update, I explained it all in my really short channel update video. It really has nothing to do with the game at all, so I made it a separate explanation just for the people who care about me and the channel and whatnot. And the truth is, I have been kind of terrified to release this video because it's spooky to admit that I'm much more behind than I had anticipated for this project. But it's important to remember that this entire game is planned out nearly to a T, and it's just a matter of getting the work done now. Really appreciate you guys staying patient. Thank you. I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let me break down a little more what the game is actually about. The game itself is a linear, a bit of a story-based game of survival horror, with the contents of the original game inside the new one at a certain section. I tried making it a good balance of chases, light puzzles, and surviving against your enemy. And chases include more like cinematic types like I showed at the beginning of this video, and free roam types where the AI kind of naturally pursues you and you can hide and make other choices as you have to get whatever objective you have completed. The only thing that really has gone backwards in this game is the physics system. I showed this off in the last episode, but it has pretty much been completely removed and most likely will not exist in the game at all. As the design of the game finished shaping up into the final project, that system just had less and less of an actual reason for being in the game. It started to kind of stick out like a sore thumb. It's definitely always cool to pick things up with physics. I definitely always like it in games, but all it would really introduce is bugs, since physics is never a reliable mechanic. Of course, physics bugs are insanely fun, nobody's denying that, but in this specific case, the cons outweigh the pros. I will be missing the physics. I made this amnesia type door system, and that was just an incredible amount of work, and it was really fun to figure out how to get it feeling right, including locked doors, adding intuitive controls that feel right at every angle, door mass, damping, throwing it open, snapping shut, all these things. But once again, it really started to clash with the rest of the game design, and using more of an animation-based system like Outlast gelled a lot more with the style of the game. Also, using physics doors was going to introduce a lot more issues to work around in the future, like what would happen if you blocked a door when an NPC wanted to come through, or tried holding it shut, or how would an NPC even interact with it properly. These are all things that can and have been figured out, but I need to draw some lines somewhere and do things that I know I have the ability for instead of always just bringing on new challenges to myself. But it's not the smart move when I'm making a commercial game that's going to cost money. I don't know how much yet, by the way. A lot of people are asking. I've not decided. Challenges are more something for those 24-hour games that I like to make. Y'all get it. Speaking of, I am gonna make more of those pretty soon because I miss making content for y'all. It's been so long. I'm gonna pump a few of those out because they're always so fun. Some of the equipment still needs a little bit of work. The Wicked Devil AI system needs a little bit of work, and I don't know if we're gonna have to make this distinction forever from now on, but due to duplicate naming conventions, the Wicked Devil AI is referring to the internal systems that I code that direct his in-game behavior. He doesn't have ChatGPT built into him.
Wicked Devil, how many bees are in Blueberry?
That's an excellent question. There are 3 bees in Blue.
Due to my delays, I'm also considering hiring some people freelance to help with some of the progress. I don't exactly have money to throw at this project, which is why I'm undecided about that. Although if you are a 3D modeler, animator, anything, I have a Google form down below where you can send your portfolio so I can at least start off with some options to consider. And please only send it if you're over 18. I don't want to go to jail for child labor laws. I want to go to jail for arson. And of course, on the topic of modeling, I have not yet fixed the Wicked Devil model. As I think I mentioned, I am proud of myself with this model, but I'm also not happy with the result compared to the original. I'll definitely make sure that will be fixed once I'm on the art pass. Thank you everybody for being so patient. The Steam page is in the description if you want to wishlist it. You do want to wishlist it. Thank you again for tuning in. It means a lot. Don't trust him, guys. I'm the real Shawkat. He's just a clone.